Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, we're going to talk to the CEO of one of the most successful architecture firms in the great state of Texas. That's just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
He's been fascinated with architecture, just in how the look and feel of an office can change the vibe. These days, millennials and Gen Zs, if they come into a traditional office with a cube farm, they'll run the other way. And with the hiring shortage out there, it's more important than ever to get the look and feel right. To talk about that today, Sloan Harris. He is the CEO of VLK Architects. Thanks for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, and would you agree with me that, kind of that 70s, 80s architecture is just like completely opposite of what attracts people to go to work?
Yeah, absolutely. When I entered the profession, we were still there, and I started in 2003 out of grad school. And it wasn't too long where we really needed to modify the workplace. I mean, it was interesting that we're designing workplaces for other companies and other industries that harnesses the live, work, play, socialize mentality, but yet our office as an architecture firm was a bit antiquated, if you will. So fast forward to today, obviously the pandemic threw that into a tailspin as well. And it really helped our profession realize what works from a work environment standpoint, in my opinion. And I think the dust is still settling on that, but for us, it kind of tore the Band-Aid off about what a workplace needs to look like moving into the next several decades.
Absolutely. More with Sloan in a minute, but let's show this overview video.
I feel like if you're going to be a thought leader in the space that you're operating in, whether you're an architecture firm or any other kind of company, you need to constantly thinking about new ways and new things you can be delivering to your clients. My name's Sloan Harris. I'm the CEO of VLK Architects, which means that I try to make sure that I'm surrounded by people much more intelligent than I am and stay out of their way. Our practice is constantly changing. And to be at the forefront of that, I think requires innovation. It can be applicable to our culture. It can be applicable to the way that we practice architecture, the way that we serve our clients, the way that we develop our architects. I'm fairly young at VLK. I think this is my 19th year. And when I started, I was a construction administrator. We were faxing all our RFI responses, all of our correspondence to the construction teams in the field. Now, I have this, and I can literally run the entire company from this, from anywhere in the world. And so you think about that as a big piece of innovation. It's really a technological advancement, but we as a firm had to innovate the way that we utilize the technology that's available to us for us to continue to be relevant and continue to evolve as a company and in our architecture profession and to be able to be at the forefront of serving our clients. We've spent a lot of time over the past several years finding ways that we can encapsulate those needs for our clients, which has created new branded services for VLK that are architecturally related, but not just black and white architecture. We have VLK Edge, which is our research and development component of our practice. We have VLK Pixel, which is our branding initiative. We have VLK Launch, which is how we start our conceptual design process. What we try to do at VLK, and I think somewhat successfully, is try to break down that vertical hierarchy as much as we can, because innovation does not start at the top. I think innovation starts at all levels, because all innovation requires to begin with is a creative thought, a new idea, and anybody can have those. It requires a lot of horizontal collaboration, a lot of responsibility sharing at all levels, regardless of your seniority or tenure. We brought on a peak performance coach that is engaged with us at all levels as needed to maximize our performance. And when he came on in 2015, he established with us the tagline of uncompromising excellence. And that's been the foundation for our core values, how we answer the question of whether we want to implement new ideas or not. Is that gonna help us achieve uncompromising excellence? I think one of our most successful, innovative pieces that we've executed over the past decade has been our Experience Design Studio. It initially started out as the idea around a visualization studio, creating animations of design and creating renderings of designs, very high level stuff that you see in magazines and in other journals, to be able to communicate the design and the vision of the client and to showcase it and market it. It's evolved into something much more. We will have a true TV studio in our new headquarters that we're building here in Fort Worth. Really, there is no ceiling in what our Experience Design Studio is accomplishing. When we're talking about new ideas and how we'll implement those new ideas or deliver on those new ideas, is what is it truly accomplishing? Is it improving our practice? Is it improving our design? Is it improving the service that we're providing our clients? Most importantly, are our clients receiving a benefit from whatever that new idea is that we want to execute upon? The history of VLK is built off very long-term client relationships. VLK would not be where we are today without those long-term relationships. But you have to continue to focus on what new things can we be doing for them that's meaningful to them, that's impactful to their projects, that are benefiting their projects, which ties back to the culture of our firm, our core values of innovate and improve, and always find a better solution. We never get to a finish line. Architecture has always evolved. How you deliver it, construction technologies that are available to you, materials that are available to you, capturing new talent that's coming out of school and helping cultivate that talent and benefiting from their ideas and how they want to innovate our practice and innovate our design. It's just a continued evolving evolution that never stops.
Wow. You have to be so proud. Like when you drive by a building that you helped design, does that just make your heart pound?
It does. When I was getting into the profession in school, I'd get asked by friends and family, well, what kind of architecture do you want to do? And I didn't really have an answer. I want to be a part of all architecture. And the majority of our work at VLK, we do a lot of public education work. And when I started there, that wasn't necessarily something that was on my radar, but in a short period of time, I realized how important that work was and the impact it has on our culture and our community. Obviously, school is an incredible part of all of that, and the environments that we provide students to learn and grow and thrive in has been very rewarding for me, and I think it's rewarding for everyone that works at VLK.
Wow. Well, you can tell that Sloan is a humble guy, so I'm gonna brag on him. He's a young man. He was named one of the Dallas Business Journal's 40 under 40. We're gonna pull up that headline. That has to be so humbling.
Well, it is. It's always surprising when you get any kind of recognition like that, and I just have to constantly remind everyone that it's not me, it's the entire company. I just happen to be the one in that photograph. And if it wasn't for everyone at the firm doing the work that they do, then Sloan Harris isn't around. So it is humbling, but you got to keep those things in perspective for sure.
Sure. We're going to put together some slides, and I want you to give us a play-by-play. What are we looking at in this first slide?
So this is an office of a private investment firm in Fort Worth and some of the newer development areas off the river. And it's just one of those examples of a very innovative or forward-thinking workspace for an investment institution. As you can imagine, like you mentioned at the beginning of the show, the sea of cubicles really doesn't exist anymore. And we spend a majority of our time at our workplaces, at our offices, and in some cases more so than we do at our homes. So this was a notion of that. The client was very creative and wanted us to just get outside the box for them and to their new headquarters. This is a new elementary school. I believe this was down in the Houston area. And you can kind of see what the library of an elementary school looks like now. So it's not a destination anymore. It's the central heart of a school campus. The notion of a student walking away with a book out of the library, unsecured or whatever, well, what a terrible problem to have, right?
Right.
The kid's going to want to take a book and read it. So a lot of our clients in public education have embraced the idea that the Learning Center in lieu of the library is the heart and part of the circulation of the campus.
Sure.
This is Eastern Hills High School in Fort Worth ISD. It was part of their last bond program, and it was a gigantic renovation, rehabilitation of that campus. It hadn't received much love in quite a while. And my predecessor, Lisa Vardaman, actually graduated from that high school. She's a former partner at VLK. So it was a legacy project for her and the design team, and the impact that it had on that area of Fort Worth and that school district that's one of those rewarding projects I was mentioning earlier. It's just been a tremendous project for Fort Worth ISD. This was the beginning of the new Hutto High School Stadium, or I would say the additions and renovations to Hutto High School Stadium down in the Austin area, the Hutto Hippos. If you've ever been to Hutto, there's a lot of stone hippos in people's yards. They really embrace that. It's really cool to be a part of. And the impact that the stadium had, which is central to the entire community, was gigantic. They opened that last fall. And it's been an incredibly rewarding project for our Austin team down at our Austin office. This is another private investment firm in Fort Worth that we did a couple of years ago. Kind of the same notion of the previous one I mentioned, really embracing more areas that's not just your typical office. You're not just sitting behind an oak desk. You're out, you're collaborating, you're inviting clients, you're making the space inviting for your clients to come and interact with you and socialize and collaborate, maybe host social hours for your team. And that's what this space is all about.
It has to be so rewarding when you're with the client and they're walking through the project as it's starting to take form, or watching them see the finished product.
Absolutely. And I've always said that the measure of our success as a firm is the service and the satisfaction of the client. We could get our projects on the cover of any magazine, pay to play type of deal. But the measure of our success is how the project is performing for the client once it's finished. What's the satisfaction of the client with the spaces and the building that we provided them? And then years down the road, is it still working for them? Those are the measures of our success. So when we see those faces light up, whether it's a child entering their new elementary school or a teacher, we do a lot of auto dealerships, the impact that it has on those dealers and those business managers. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, we really, that's where the rubber meets the road for us.
I love it. Sloan, thank you for coming on the show. You've been a great
Absolutely.
guest.
Thanks
We're
for
gonna
having me.
we're gonna end with website, which is VLKArchitects.com. Sloan Harris, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.